Good morning. Let's continue our conversation about compensating the flexible workforce. So first up, let's just ask, what are some reasons that employers in the United States are increasingly relying on contingent workers? Well, there are three big reasons that our book mentions. The first is economic, the second is international competition, and then there's the shift toward the service economy. The overall economic conditions right now, I think, are going to probably create another wave of a lot of contingent workers in the workforce. So if you think back to 2009, 2010, when we had the economic recession, that was where this really started, a lot more of this contingent workforce, because it's kind of a safety net, really, because you can hire in so many core workers to make sure that there's consistency and that the work is getting done. And then if work is increasing, you can bring in temporary workers. You can bring in some of these independent contractors to work with you. They're a lot easier to fire. You're not paying them benefits. So there are certain advantages to that. And even when the economy was doing really well earlier this year, right, people were still, like, the hiring has really slowed down from what economics professionals were thinking it should be. And I think people were just kind of gun shy from that economic recession. And now here we are again, something catastrophic has happened to our workforce. And so I think that the hiring might actually slow down a bit and for core workers, but that contingent workforce will continue to grow. So international competition, that it's easier to hire less expensive work elsewhere. But again, I think this may be affected by COVID-19 because of the interruption in these supply chains. I'm not sure exactly, obviously, how it's going to play out, but I think this is going to be something that's really interesting to watch. Our country is going to become more isolationist and really rely more on their own internal workforces than international. And I don't know the answer to that. I just think that's an interesting question. And the last one is just that shift toward the service workforce over manufacturing. So this contingent workforce tends to work more in the service economy than in the manufacturing economy. These are just interesting questions. I don't have the answers, but these are things to think about. Because our workforce, more people are choosing to be in the gig economy. So how would you classify somebody who works on Etsy, right? Are they self-employed? Are they business owners, entrepreneurs? Or are they working primarily for one individual maybe? Are they independent contractors putting out their products, services to multiple people? Has the gig economy hit its peak? Now, this was something that I was asking this question, remember, in January when I was putting these slides together, and the economy was doing really well. So people have a choice. Do more people prefer to have that consistency of work and know that they're getting that paycheck? And, if you watch that video, there's a lot of pressure on people who work from home, who have to, are their own sole employers. Again, who knows what's going to happen now? Do people, many people may not have that choice of where they're going to work for a company, or whether they're going to need to enter the gig economy and kind of take matters into their own hands. Should organizations care about diversity of the contingent workforce? Again, remember, the contingent workforce isn't protected by the federal laws. It's easier to discriminate in this gig economy than it is in a workforce within an organization. Is there a reason why, Google, who hires hundreds of thousands of contingent laborers, should they worry about diversity in that contingent workforce? I would argue yes, but I'm not sure that people are really thinking about that. And then, should we worry about the communication with and satisfaction of these contingent workers? Again, part of the reason that they're there is because they're really easy to let go. Things for organizations to think about. All right, so now let's get into our crunch the numbers. So crunch the numbers for chapter 12, which is our last crunch the numbers. In my book, it's on page 316. So you are a compensation analyst. You've been assigned to calculate and compare estimated costs of hiring full-time and part-time employees in anticipation of staffing a big project. It will take 100,000 work hours to complete the project, and the project must be completed within a 5-week period. The work week runs Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. Full-time workers provide 40 hours of work. Part-time workers provide 20 hours of work in a week. Assume that the hourly wage rate for full-time workers is $20 and the rate for is $12 for part-time workers. All right. Now, both of these workers perform the exact same set of tasks, and we're going to assume that these benefits, okay, are from table 12-2, which I believe is on page 296. Okay, so question 12-11 says, based exclusively on employing full-time workers, how many are needed to complete the project? So that's where we are here. So we've got only full-time employees. So again, we've got this 100,000 hours that we need, and it has to be done in 5 weeks, and they're going to work 40 hours a week per employee. So that's this calculation right here. Okay, it's 100,000 hours divided by 5 weeks divided by 40 hours a week per employee, and that's how I get this 500 employees. So now part B says, what is the estimated total cost of wages and benefits? So our wages here are the $20 plus the benefits are $12.72. So again, it's 100,000 hours. So this $20, this $12.72, those are hourly wages. So let's just do 100,000 hours times 20 plus 1272, and that's where I get the 3,272,000. All right. So now 12-12 says, based exclusively on employing part-time workers, how many are needed to complete the project? And then what are the estimated costs there? So you'll take your same formula. So it's the 100,000 hours divided by 5 weeks. But now we're going to say divided by 20 hours per week per employee. And that gets us to 1,000 employees. The estimated cost here is the $12 plus $372. So now again, we're going to take our 100,000 hours and we're going to multiply that by 1572. So 1572, 100,000 hours, 1572, right? So to make sense. So that's how we get that 1,572,000. So now 12-13 says, assume that your company has asked you to calculate the cost of staffing the project with a combination of full and part-time workers. You've already hired 225 full-time workers. How many part-time workers should you hire? All right, so we've got 225 full-time employees times 40 hours a week times 5 weeks. Okay, that's going to get us to this 45,000 hours. So now we take our 100,000 total hours minus 45,000 hours gives us our 55,000 hours remaining that these part-time workers are going to need to fill. So now we take again the same formula up here, but now it's 55,000 hours divided by our 5 weeks divided by 20 hours a week per employee. And that's where we're going to come up with this 550 part-time employees. Total cost of the full-time is our 45,000 hours times our 20 plus 1272. So you got your 3272. That's where you come up with your 1,472,400. Take your 55,000 hours times 1572 to come up with 864,600, and those are your total costs. Okay, now that's how you calculate this. Something else I need to point out that they sneak in on you in the online homework, okay? In the online homework, their table 12-2, if you pull it up, you've got to pull it up, and if you do, you will see that the benefits for 12-2 on your online homework is different. For some reason, they did not update that table when they updated the text. So it's 1180 and 337 instead of the 1272 and 372. So either open up that table or just keep that in mind. Okay? So that's all we're going to do for this one. Thanks, guys.